My name's Ann Smith. Here's my three-person audience for my presentation, and I'll let my husband film. Hi, I'm here tonight, and I'd like to talk about starting a teen advisory group in the Sullivan County Libraries. The Sullivan County Libraries are Blumpville is the main library, then we have the library in Bluff City, we have the library in Bloomingdale, we have the library in Sullivan Gardens, we have the library in Colonial Heights, and that would be the 5 Sullivan County libraries. And the Teen Advisory Group, first of all, what it is, it's volunteer basis. Teens between the ages of 12 and 18, maybe 19, come into the library and work with the librarian doing whatever they'd like to do, basically. The librarian supervises, but the teens get together, decide with the librarian the programming that they'd like to have, if they want to be there to just help the librarian, if they want to put up bulletin boards, if they want to run some summer programming, if they want to read books to younger children, if they want to look at ordering new books, if they want to look at the collection and take things out, if they want to add new things in, they decide it with the help of the librarian, and then they go forward with it. So this is what I'm proposing that we start. And it's important that we try to do this because the Kingsport Public Library has some teen programming, but not a teen advisory group. The only one in the region is at Bristol Public Library, and they have an active teen advisory group where they plan their programming and do all sorts of fun things together. So by having teen advisory groups in the 5 Sullivan County libraries, we would raise the awareness of the public libraries in the public's eyes. We would be a good place for teens to congregate. That would increase our circulation and increase our status in the county. Because right now people flock to Kingsport Public Library, and the branch libraries, the Sullivan County libraries, don't get a whole lot of business. They all go into Kingsport. So that's what we want to do. We want to increase circulation and traffic in the libraries. And it will also help increase teen literacy, hopefully. I don't know if you know this, but Tennessee is undergoing a huge shift in curriculum in the public schools from Tennessee curriculum to Common Core, which is a nationwide curriculum move. And it's much harder than what our students have been asked to do previously. And they're asked to read much harder material, be engaged in literature, nonfiction text, and fiction at a much higher level than they have ever done before. And so having teens come into the library to help the librarian be exposed to books, they can talk about books that they're reading, they can recommend books to each other, they can ask the librarian to order certain books to add to the collection for other teens to read, will all help raise teen literacy. As teens come into the library and check things out and work with the librarian, it will help their literacy rate increase. And you may be asking, well, what are the challenges with this? We've got 5 libraries. Most places where they have a teen advisory group, it's just in one library. But I'm proposing that the whole Sullivan County library system start teen advisory groups in each individual library. So in all 5 libraries, there'd be library groups. Sullivan Gardens, Bloomingdale, Colonial Heights, Bluff City, and Blumpville would all have their own little groups. And they would meet together during the summer to do one summer reading program that would travel to each of those 5 branches for the younger children. And they could meet together more often if they wanted, but their main time to meet would be at their branch library. They can meet together using Skype, if they'd like, as a whole between the 5 branches, or they can meet together face-to-face. Just the distance between Sullivan Gardens and Blumpville Library is over 20 miles, and I'm not sure that we'd get many people from Sullivan Gardens going out to the Blumpville Library to participate there. Bluff City is much closer, but Sullivan Gardens, Colonial Heights, it's a long drive out to Blumpville to go to a volunteer teen thing, and then you're going to have parents hang around and pick them back up. And so that's why I propose that we start them at each individual site. And this can be a challenge, but it's also a good thing because each of the libraries is within 2 miles of a public middle school or high school. The one in Bloomingdale is the farthest from a teen site, and it's about 2 miles from North Middle and High School. But Sullivan Gardens shares a campus with the middle school. Colonial Heights is very close to Colonial Heights Middle School. Bluff City is 2 blocks, and Blumpville basically shares the campus with Bluff City with Blumpville Middle School. So if the librarians are willing to work with the public school librarians, we have almost a captive audience there. We can market this to the students. That's right there. They can come right over after school. Parents can pick them up from the library after school once they're done with their teen advisory group there. We may only have 5 at each library attending, but that would give the librarian and the teens time to develop a good level of trust. They could develop programs that would be specific for that library. I know Sullivan Gardens has a different collection than Bluff City does, and the teens at Sullivan Gardens may want to request different books. They may want to have different activities. The libraries are set up differently, so they can work with the librarian, and the librarian can also help tailor things to meet the needs of the students who are there in the libraries, working with them. Funding might be a problem to start with, but there are grants available for that, and the teens can also help with book sales that the libraries have on an annual basis. They can help organize and sell, and that can go into the Teen Advisory Group funds. But Best Buy has a grant for after-school literacy programs, which fits very nicely with teen advisory groups and public libraries, because we are an after-school and it's a literacy program, and Best Buy's funding is there for that. All teens would need to sign a liability and have a parent sign a liability statement saying that they're allowing their teen to participate, especially if they're coming right after school to the library, like in Sullivan Gardens or at Bluntville Middle. If they're just walking across the street to the library, the parents do need to sign a waiver there. So to create this, we'll need to advertise first in the schools with a joint effort with our school librarians. We would need to post it on the public library website. We would want to have it in the newspapers, Bristol, Johnson City, and Kingsport, because it covers the whole area. And then we'd want to set some initial start dates. I propose we'd start them chronologically near each other, but not on the same day. So maybe Sullivan Gardens wants to start on Monday and have their organizational meeting on Monday. Colonial Heights starts on Tuesday. So we get some organization going, and then we can decide, those groups can decide how often they want to meet as a whole with those 5 groups together. If they only want to meet together once during the summer and do a summer reading program and travel around, and that's their consensus, great idea. If they want to meet more often than that, then that's what they need to do. But by having it staggered, our initial meetings, the library director from Bluntville can be at each group to help provide direction and support for the branch librarian in her building. Students will love to use Skype, instant messaging, chat, Twitter, Facebook, and they should use that. It should be teen friendly. They should be able to use that technology. They should be able to use the computers that are available in all the libraries to do that. And they can use that to stay in contact with group members that are not at their branch library, and group members, and draw on more group members for their own branch library. The last thing that I would like them to do is be able to use this as a service learning opportunity, service hours for Boy Scouts, service hours for Girl Scouts, and as they work together, if they're there for 6 months or more, working together with the librarian knows them well, she can feel free to give them a letter of reference for college scholarships, for first employment, because she knows them and knows how they are working well for her. She knows their strengths and their weaknesses. Benefits to the library system kind of come back to why we wanted to do this in the first place. We want to increase our circulation. We want to increase teen literacy. We want to increase the way Sullivan County is viewed within the library world in Northeast Tennessee. It will also give us extra volunteer hands for summer reading programs, for helping with younger students, for shelving books, for getting rid of books, for deciding what new hot popular fiction teens are wanting to read, because honestly, do the librarians know this? We try to, but we don't. We're not teens. The teens know the hot popular fiction they want to read. So having that program going, a teen advisory group, will be beneficial to Sullivan County libraries. Any questions?
I've got a question. The way you're talking, I guess I'm wondering why they haven't already done this. Do you anticipate some kind of opposition to doing this? Is there some reason maybe people would be reluctant to do it?
Perhaps apathy is a reason that comes, just it's another thing to do. And I know often our branch librarians feel like they have so much to do because they have to come up with all the programming for summer reading programs. It's usually them and one other person running the entire branch library, and I know they feel like there's a lot to do, but if we can get them on board with this, and they see that there are volunteers there to help them, because teens they're employable. we can teach them how to do many things in the library, and they can do jobs that need to be done in the library and create excitement there. I think we'll overcome that issue. Any others?
Wouldn't it be better to have a pilot program first in one library to see how it works, and then branch out from there, from the learnings, whether it's what you need to do different in the second and third library as you go across the county?
That's a possibility. That's a possibility. I hadn't quite thought of that. What comes to mind as I think about that is with potential closings of 2 middle schools and consolidation of schools, we might end up with teens feeling left out. And if their local public library that's close to their old middle school is still offering programming that's specific to them, it helps them retain a sense of community when they've been thrown into a larger ocean in a combined school that's certainly coming to the schools in Sullivan County.
I had one more question. You mentioned something about funding. Bring me up to speed. What kind of funding, what kind of cost issues are you really talking about? Additional books or?
I think it really would come down to maybe some additional books or some like craft things. If they're doing stuff for summer reading, they're going to have some craft stuff to do. Teens may want to have crafts themselves to do. It kind of depends on what the group direction wants to be. They may want to decorate the library. That just takes funds. Our funding is at a baseline level, and there is not funding right now for a teen advisory group. We can use some of the print money in the budget for teen books, and that would help us direct that better into what teens want, but there really isn't anything to help them do anything exciting. And teen advisory groups, when I've looked across the nation at successful ones, they tend to feed them. And so certainly if we have them coming together during the summer, doing a summer reading group for the younger children, pizza would be a great incentive to have them be there.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you very much.